This is SAF Youth Commissioner Patrick speaking to you. We're all going through some difficult times because of COVID-19 and the lockdown in Switzerland. We're all looking forward to go back to practice. And as you took notice, these days there is light on the end of the horizon, as we're going to be allowed to go back to practice in May. But therefore, we have to accept some special rules. We have to accept a strategy which has been made by SAF and which has been approved by the government to go back to practice safely regarding the situation we have had during the lockdown, and which will be part of the practice at least until the beginning of June. Therefore, we, SAFAC, formed a COVID-19 coaches task force to assist you, to give you a hand, to give you some advices in dealing with the actual situation. We put together coaches from all over Switzerland, experts from all over Switzerland, to support you, because you, the local coaches, you are the operative force to execute the strategy of SAF, and we don't want to leave you alone with the actual situation. So therefore, please go through the complete tutorial. You will gonna find some red overlays over here and down here. These red overlays are referring to direct rules of the strategy of SAF, and you will gonna find some gray overlays, same position over here and down here. These are advices from the experts, from the coaches we took together in the SAF task force. So it's up to you to follow these advices. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if you're not sure about. These coaches are available for you. Please don't hesitate to step in contact with SAFAC, which works as a platform to assist you, to give you some advices, and to enforce you in your effort as coaches all over Switzerland. Thank you very much for your effort. Stay safe, stay healthy, and never let up.
Dear Coach, my name is Giorgio Volpi, and I'm the Swiss U19 national team coach. I'm recording this message because right now, the most important thing for American football in Switzerland is to follow the COVID-19 rules. As a coach, you're responsible for the well-being of your players. Therefore, to follow the SAF and BASPO guidelines. Practices are limited, mainly because we are a contact sport and viruses can be spread easily. My advice to you is to plan the daily practice and then adjust your practices to these rules. I know that this is not easy, but there are many areas that we have to work on outside tackling and blocking. Pre-season conditioning, for example, 300 shuttle run, a standard test for pre-testing and post-testing anaerobic condition. It is perfect for football players. Agility circuit, 5 to 6 stations with 2 to 4 players in each station, far from each other. Plyometric workout for developing power. Ladders, for example. Individual technique. You can perfect drawback for quarterback, offensive line, stepping or pulling technique, linebacker keys reading, and or zone dropping. These are all exercises that you can do keeping the rules and distances. For me, one of the most important traits in a good football coach is being able to adjust, especially in Europe. I hope I help you. Be safe and thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, this is Coach B. I'm an instructor with the Swiss American Football Academy. It's an independent organization we created last year in 2019 to support the Swiss American Football Association with a special focus on coaches education. And today I would like to take you through the measures that the Swiss American Football Association has submitted to continue practice in times of COVID-19. So I would like to show you the biggest takeaways, in my opinion, instead of taking you through the whole document, which you can find in the links below. I would rather take you through a smaller document, just showing you the highlights of what you need to know as a coach to be aware of and create a good practice. So bear with me 1 second. Here we go. And one more thing. Let me move myself very small so this is bigger. Okay. So the precaution and safety measures for American football to be able to practice as of May 11th, as it seems, are that you should always keep a minimum distance of 2 meters. Also, you can practice only in groups of maximum 5 people. So this is either 4 players and 1 coach, or if you have players that can coach as well, then it would be 5 players. The groups are not allowed to exchange or change on the field, so you shouldn't be mingling with other groups at the same time. So the same 5 people always have to stay together. This is also important for the coach to know, so one coach cannot go from group to group. The groups have to be separated, so it's possible to have more than 1 group on the field, but these groups have to be at least 10 meters apart. Each team must have 1 person that is responsible for bringing disinfectants, cleaning materials, and also writing down the numbers or the names of the players per group, so that in case of any, in case that a player gets sick in COVID, then the other players have to go into quarantine. What I think is very specific to know is that throwing and catching is possible. So if you want to have a group of quarterbacks or a group of receivers, or even a group where both are mixed, then these players should wear gloves so that they don't touch the ball with their own fingers. But the glove secures that. And these footballs and gloves must be disinfected before and after the practice. And also that 1 ball should be used with the same 2 players at a time. In general, the material that you use should be dedicated to players. So if possible, you shouldn't share material like hand shields and so on. It's very hard to not to do this. Or just simply not use your hands when using specific materials. Always disinfect the materials, and it should be clear that every player should bring their own water bottle and not share the bottles. We also recommend coaches to wear a mask, but we do not recommend masks for players, as it's not just inconvenient, but since a player will inhale, let's say, 120 liters of air per minute, the mask will be soaked in very short time, and that loses the effect it has.
Hi, my name is Sascha Gavot. I'm the head coach of the Lucerne Lions and general manager for the national teams of the South. We're facing a lot of adversity with the situation we are in right now, but overcoming adversity is a big factor in becoming a champion. So I'm really happy that we have the opportunity to go back to the practice field soon after several weeks of just online meetings and some challenges we did with the guys here in Lucerne to make sure they move a little bit at least. You know, the gyms were closed down in the last weeks also, so many of the guys didn't do any sports at all. So please make sure when you go back on the field with them, start slow, don't expect too much from them, get them into movement and have a progression in there to build up their fitness level again. This situation gives us the opportunity to really concentrate on the basics and to really put in a lot of time to each individual player, more time than we would have in a normal team practice, even in off or preseason. The situation and the guidelines also mean that we have to be a little bit creative in what we do and how we do it. It means a lot of work to get prepared and to look for that every guideline is enforced, but I think it's really worth all the work we put in, because on the long run the guys will be ready, the guys will be fit when it's time to go to full team practices again. For some positions it will be easier to prepare a 1.5 or even 2 hour practice. For some it will be not so easy, but maybe you want to cut down the practice time then for certain position groups to 1 hour or maybe only 45 minutes. But like I said, it's better than having no practices at all. Especially for the wide receivers, it's pretty simple to put in a 1.5 hour workout. I will have my wide receivers in Lucerne come onto the practice field at least 1 time a week. I hope we get in 2 times a week. And then we will work them out for 1.5 hour each. We will do about 25 to 30 minutes of warm-up and basic footwork drills, going over some step over backs, doing some speed ladder routines, cone drills, where we work on breaks and stuff like that. Followed by a 15-minute stance and starts period, where we really concentrate on the right stance. Do the guys have the right weight distributions on their feet? Eliminating false steps, and also again working on some breaks for certain routes. After that we will work with the ball for the wide receivers. Most of them wear gloves anyways, so it will be no difference for them, nothing new for them. With the small size of the group, it's also possible to make sure only 2 guys exchange the same ball every time. You only need 2 balls for 4 guys that you can work out at a time with the coach, so that should be no problem. We will do 30 minutes of catch and tuck drills, run to drill, turn around drill, over the shoulder catches, distraction drill, just to name a few. We also will do a little bit of conditioning each practice, 10-15 minutes, and after a short cool down I will send them home again. If you need any help or ideas for drills, or how to prepare your practice, how to handle the situation, feel free to contact me. You can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, you can shoot me an email on nationalteam@saf.ch. So I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay healthy. Hope to see you soon on the football field. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Coach B again from the Swiss American Football Academy. Today in this video I want to talk to you about how to set up a good practice in times of COVID-19, and especially how to structure and plan your practice. So as we know, there's only 5 players per group allowed, and groups have to be 10 meters distance apart. So it's very important for you to organize your practice field, how the groups will work on the field. So I've made this very simple diagram. Let me show you here. So this is the playing field. This is a 50 by 50 grid that I created. And if you take each group has a number 1, 2, 3, and so on. And they all have a 10 by 10 meter grid or square available. Between those groups, I've made 10 meters squares distance, so they can always have the 10 meters apart. This would be the max amount you want to get out of a field. This doesn't give you much flexibility because sometimes you need more than 10 meters of practicing field. So if you plan your practice, just create such a diagram and make sure that you coordinate all the groups and set up cones so that each group knows exactly where they belong to and where their barriers are. So that's the first step you should do before or for setting up your practice is the field setup. Then you want to define the groups itself. You want to determine, do I want to have specific positions together, like all defensive backs in one group, all receivers in one group, and so on? Or do you want to mix groups like quarterbacks and receivers make sense? Maybe that's the only group almost, like maybe quarterbacks and running backs make sense as well. So the topics will be speed, strength, endurance, flexibility as well, a lot. And you can look at basic techniques like stance, starts, getting off the ball. These are typically the things you want to look at right now. Think of it as the beginning of the preseason or setting up the preseason practice where people come to practice again after a long time of not practicing. So you want to get them into a good condition now. You want to maintain or create good flexibility and make sure that they have the basics down and know exactly what to do.
Hello, fellow coaches. I'm Douglas Finazzi, the founder of Swiss Made Coaching and an assistant coach with the Geneva Seahawks. So I'm here to tell you a couple of advice during this very particular time. First thing is really to keep your practice short and intense, between 25 to 45 minutes, to keep your players engaged. So for quarterbacks and receivers, I would recommend doing Skelly. That's one of the best things you could do in order to practice your passing schemes. One thing though, always wear gloves and please do not lick your fingers when touching football. I think that's quite obvious, especially in these times. And this Kelly is actually a good thing in order to keep distance between the players. For offensive linemen, I think it's a great time to practice footwork. I think you never do enough footwork with offensive linemen. So one of the things I really love to do with my guys is the shuffle pull. The shuffle pull it's a drill in order to practice kick slide and post step. So they would actually use a pull and then kick slide while having this pull about the shoulders in order to really force to have a good bend in the back. So I think that's one of the things you could do with offensive linemen. And then for running backs, the Dallas Star is one of my favorite drill, to practice the balance of your running back and then acceleration. And another things I would also do is reaction and redirection with your running back. So here a couple of things. I hope it would help you during these times, and I wish you great success, and I look forward to see you on the field.